Well, good afternoon on this beautiful Thursday. Hey, there is no sun really here in Florida. That's unusual. This is Toni Weel. We have with us Gary Parent, and Sara is soon to be here, but I haven't seen her yet, so I'm pretty sure she will be here soon. Today we wanted, or I wanted to talk about detox and all the things that we see around us about how to do a detox and how people feel and what can go wrong even if we follow the instructions that we learned from Dr. Morse. There seems to be something missing, not necessarily with his protocols, but the way how we implement them. Are we doing it the right way? Because there is a time of detoxing and a time of regenerating and healing. And then, you can detox again. Regeneration doesn't mean you go back to your old ways because, yeah, we use the word detox now for anything and everything. You see detox products in the stores. It seems everybody online has a detox program from 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days. And I know we talked about this before, but I found it important enough to get more into the details about how to do it and what can go wrong. How do you transition? How long should one transition, depending, of course, of what your diet has been and what your mindset is. Because it's kind of sad to see when somebody is doing all the things for a long time and does not get the results that they need to get. And in the meantime, we get other issues. I hear a lot about teeth issues, as if they are synonymous with being a raw vegan, and that is absolutely nonsense. But yeah, is all fruit, is the detox on all fruit, is that for long term? In my opinion, it's not the way to go, but we will hear from Gary because I did make the mistake to go on all fruit, and my teeth, who were not strong to begin with, they did suffer more. And that is only my own fault because I didn't like veggies and for the minerals. And it is like I really, people, a 3 day detox doesn't mean anything. It makes you feel miserable and well, maybe not. That's what most people do. And then it's like, oh no, the fruit doesn't work or the detox doesn't work. But if you do it the right way, you will feel amazing. And it is like we have to unlearn a lot. And it's also important. How do you deal with your family? How would they tell you you're crazy because you lose a lot of weight, and you have to know what is the reason that you are actually losing weight. And I heard people that need to lose weight and they say, oh, on fruit, I gain weight. It only meant that you didn't do something right, because we have to figure out what would be the reason that you would be gaining weight. So it's often in the little details, And I would, and I planned this for a long time, to put it all in a book and go step by step. This is what you do. But everybody is different. We're all at a different level. But yeah, I learned from Gary, and I always thought, and I mentioned that before, it's like, okay, people, change your diet, adjust your diet, get rid of all the animal food, the cooked food eventually, and um, and just eat a healthy raw diet, and not with a whole bunch of nuts and seeds and avocados and coconut like I did, because I can tell you that did not work. But then he recently mentioned the correct breathing is 70% of the detox. And I do want to go more into that again. And I know with Gary, we always talk about the correct breathing, and how important it is to get your kidneys to filter and your lymph to move, and he knows all kinds of well, I can call it little tricks for it to get it all working the correct way. But I think it is important to get away from these short detoxes or the detox pills or the detox teas that often have ingredients that you don't really want in your body. And just realize, it's the detox. You can almost, the word is almost synonymous. Do you say that synonymous, or how do you
Mm.
say that, Gary?
That's right, synonymous.
Synonymous with healing. Because when you start doing that and you get all the junk out of your body, you start healing. And it may not be easy and it may take some time, but don't go for the short detox programs that you see everywhere, and realize it's a long-term thing. It is like healing. You didn't get sick in a few months. You won't heal in a few months. When I started and I was, they say take 1 month for every year you've been sick. And then I at my age and I was like, oops, that's gonna take me a while. But more than halfway there, it's like it doesn't matter how long it takes. It's just you change your life. And I don't think in the sense of programs, and it's not that all these years I have been on herbs. I only do that once in a while, maybe twice a year for that I take herbs for a few weeks. And but just get away from all these short-term detoxes and realize there is a good way to do it in transition. And transition just means that you don't shock your body so much. You can take it slow when you have the time. If the doctor tells you have 6 months to live, there's not that much time. But thank goodness that doesn't happen too often, that we get to connect with people who are going through that. Because at that point, it's like, yeah, you can give it your all and go on what Dr. Morse said, your 40-day grapes only. But other than that, we can, there are many things you can do, and it's what I learned from Gary. It's all start with the correct breathing, and it's everyone that I talk to, every client, and it's I ask about the breathing. It's oh yeah, I don't pay attention to that. I was like, well, that is a big life change too, and it was for me to be very conscious of how you are breathing. And everyone I talk to now and is like, how's your breathing? So thanks, Gary. We got that going.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. And it is. It's extremely important. It's what brought you into this realm. Without that first breath, you can't be here. It turns on your electrical system, and your electrical system runs everything in the body. And fruit is electrical. It has a high electrical output, and it is pretty much self-digesting. So if you eat a hamburger, it takes 60% of your available energy to digest that. If you eat fruit, it's assisting in the digestive process, plus it's giving you energy and enzymes and electrolytes and all the things that your body needs to function properly. Then you add breath in there. So it's like you take fruit and you make a smoothie and you leave it in a glass. It's not really going to do you much good. Well, if you're drinking that smoothie, then it's going in, and it's processing, but with movement and breath, it processes even better. And it's moving the blood, it's moving the lymph, it's putting oxygen into the blood to help the body regenerate itself, because the body cannot regenerate if it's lacking proper hydration, nutrition, and oxygen. It just can't do it. And that's where the breath comes in, because it moves everything in the body. You're physically changing the internal pressure of the body all the time. If we go into outer space without a spacesuit on, we blow apart. If we go down in the ocean, And we go down too far, we implode. We don't explode like we do in space, we implode. And we're crushed because the outside pressure is greater than the pressure inside our body. Well, we're going through that all the time with our breath. You go up a mountain and your ears pop, or you go down the valley and your ears pop. That's because the pressure around you is changing, and it's affecting your body. You know, if you live a mile up and your breath, you have a hard time to breathe. Sometimes I have a hard time to breathe here well, like when I was in Santa Fe. I did some really intense breathing with a friend of mine. And the next day, I was out walking, everything was good. But the minute I got to a hill, I didn't have enough oxygen coming in to supply my body, and I literally had to sit down to catch my breath. That's how important breath is. And it's a huge part of your everyday maintenance for your body. You're moving the diaphragm, and if you're walking, the other two pumps are the balls of your feet for the lymphatic system. And as you're pumping the lymphatic system, you're pumping the blood. And this is what heals you. You know, when you eat fruit, there's a methylation process in the digestive system. So you eat fruit, and what it does is it pulls out what it needs, and anything it doesn't need, it gets rid of. Out through the 13 channels of elimination, the body must use every day to maintain its health, like opening the 6 lymphatic gates. If those are closed, you know, like largest lymph node is right behind your earlobes. There's a little hole there just above your jawbone. Well, if that gets blocked, that side of your head will start to fill with toxins. So when we eat fruits, berries, and melons, and to eat them is the best, and they should be tree ripened, and then you're fighting nature. How do you know when they're ready? When the birds start showing up and eating things, or, you know, it's later in the fall and they're waiting for them to ferment so they can, it's the one time a year that they're allowed to, well, I guess you'd call it get drunk. And all animals do it.
Well, Gary, I can tell you, if you wait until the birds start eating it, you are too late. Because I have to tell you a little story because it is
Yeah.
actually funny. I had a house in the Netherlands, in a small town, and I had a nice yard in front of it. I'm the one who wants to see what is all growing there, so anything and everything came up, and all of a sudden it was almost like a tree. It was a big bush, and I didn't know what it was, so I just let it grow, and then it had flowers, and then it had berries, and no clue what kind of berries it was. And then someone told me that it was a currant berries.
Mm-hmm.
And in my life, I had never seen a fresh currant, only the dried ones, because
Mm-hmm.
they're very popular in the Netherlands. And so I was like, okay, then it's time to get some off the tree because they were already some were falling off, and I was like, it's time to get them. The next morning, there was no berry on that tree at all, as if there never had been any berry. The birds got them all.
Oh, yes.
I had the same. I had a cherry tree. I think in all the years that I lived there, I managed twice to get one, or they were in like kind of a string where two were on it. As a kid, we always put them over our ears, like we had earrings. Twice I could get them. The birds were faster. I had other berries, and I was never in time. So, but now here in Florida, I have the larger fruits like the mangoes and the papayas. And they have a very short time that they are ready for you to pick because when they ripe and you don't get them within 2 days, they fall on the ground and you're too late because then the critters get it.
Yes.
I have possums and whatever else, and so they beat me a few times. But I figured out you just have to check every day because we're not like the animals. The animals know exactly because of smell or something when
Mhm.
something is ripe, and
That's
we
true.
seem to don't have that ability anymore. And maybe when we're longer on a fruit, we would be able to do that. But now it is, if that fruit, if I touch the fruit and it falls in my hand, it's mine. And it is, then it is actually completely 100% ready to eat. So don't wait until the birds get it.
No, that is true, but they know when it's at its peak,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah, and for
so
us
you
it
can
is.
always.
Yeah, for us it is harder. I mean, that is when you
Yeah, yeah.
have to constantly check, and
Yes.
maybe, if you are a grower, you know exactly when, but this was my first time here. I mean, in the Netherlands, I had fruit trees, and they were in such an abundance. It was amazing. Here I'm happy now after, what is it, 4 or 5 years, if I have 30 mangoes on my tree, and then I
Hmm.
have to make sure the neighbors don't steal them. At least
Yes.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. The other animals.
Yeah, the other animals. But with the trees that I had, the apple trees in the Netherlands, oh my gosh, there was way more than I could ever eat, even if I would eat them every day. So we just let them fall. And in the wintertime, we had all the ducks gathering actually on our property because there was such an abundance of food. So, and they ate the apples.
Mm.
Yeah, it is that was funny with when is something really ripe, and then it tastes so amazing. I had never
So,
had a mango taste as good as the one that I was growing here, and I didn't even get like an organic tree. It was just a tree from a grower, but I
hmm.
don't put any pesticides or anything on it.
Hmm.
Although they started spraying here in Florida for mosquitoes.
Hmm.
And my husband said he could taste it, and that is sad.
Yeah, that is sad,
Yeah, so that
but
means that you cannot really get away from the chemicals other than detoxing them out. It's just a thought that came up, Gary. It's like we talk about detoxing, and I think the whole process is for healing the body. So once we see it as a detox, we see it as a short term kind of thing and then go back. How do you see the part of detox in regeneration? Because I know Dr. Morse talked often about that. And for me, it was like, well, with regeneration, you add a few more things. You add more greens. I know Dr. Morse is not really a fan of greens, and but I think incorporating them, would you see that as the regenerative? My gosh. I break my tongue on that one. I'm not gonna do it again. You know what I mean.
okay. Yes. So yeah, I think greens are, in my world, they're a big part of everything. As far as like, okay, and Dr. Morse had this happen, I think, when he was eating only oranges, ripe oranges. He overcharged himself. He couldn't stay connected in this world. And because he was out of balance the other way, we're out of balance on the low frequency, and he was out of balance on the high frequency for his body. So he had to go back to eating vegetables. And between the high frequency of fruits, berries, and melons and the not so high frequency of vegetables, you have to find the balance between those two. And when you find it, it's still going to be something you're going to have to adjust as time goes by. And you add in your breathing and your movement, not exercise, just slow movement. Uh, you will find your balance. And that's how you live the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. It is
Yeah.
the balance that you need to feel. But it's like with the because I'm also very interested in the natural hygienic diet, which is they tell you to 50% fruit and 50% greens.
Hmm.
And I wouldn't be able to do 50% of my diet greens. I don't like them, but that is a mental thing, so I can get over that. And in a small amount of nuts and seed, and in a small amount, I mean a few, literally a few times a week, and
Hmm.
not a whole bag of it. And because I see so many people, what is really popular, and I see that in the groups too, is raw till 4 and then eat whatever you want. And I'm like, everything that you try to do good up till 4 o'clock, you mess it up with whatever you ate after 4 o'clock. What is your take on that one?
There are going to be people that works for, and there's going to be people it doesn't work for. I would say most people it's not going to work for them. Uh, because for every time that we try to set a rule, it's always broken by somebody. I mean, that's just life. Uh, so if it works and you're regaining your health, then I say go for it.
Yeah,
Listen to your body.
right, but how do we know that we actually regain the health? Because so many times it just suppresses the whole healing. And we think that we are healing, but in the meantime, things are getting worse. And I have experienced that myself.
Because that's not your diet. Anybody that's sick is on the wrong diet. And they may think they have the greatest diet in the world,
That's the good
but
one. That is a good one. If you have any symptoms, then you're not on the right diet.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're not breathing properly, you're not moving uh slow enough. Our mind is trained to go 100 miles an hour, even when we're sitting still. It's almost a crime in this country to rest. And that's some of the part that is messing with our digestive system, with our health is it's kind of like, and I think we've talked about this before, I might have talked about it yesterday. Like some of these diet pills, they have what literally could be called a venom. It's a synthetic version in them, and it slows down your digestive system. Well, your digestive system has its own brain and is constantly in communication with the brain, right? Well, if it can't send the right signal to the brain's going to produce things to send back to the stomach that, or the digestive system, that is inferior, that will pull you further and further away from who you are as a human being. This is the domestication part of what we're all going through is we're being led down the path where uh, you could literally say poison is being put in our food. And that's what I'm hoping that Kennedy will do is start to straighten that out. But that is a big organization. And, the revolving door of, well, I used to work for a big farmer and now I work for the FDA. And I used to work for the FDA, but now I'm back with Big Pharma. And it's just a revolving door, all these things. So we have to become aware of that and not be threatened by it. Just choose differently. And our circle of influence is huge. I mean, when you work with someone and they get it and they get their energy back, there's as soon as they hang up with you and they turn around, they're going into a group of people, a circle of influence that only knows them as what they were. And that's how they treat them. And if you're not strong enough, you're going to fall back into the same thing that made you sick. Well, that's mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And it can be all of them.
So
So it's up.
how do we handle that? Because everybody has to deal with that.
We handle it by maintaining a positive attitude and finding people out on, for lack of a better word, around us or on the internet who have a positive uh, outlook on life. You know, it's not you're too short, you're too tall, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too this, you're too that. Um, you're following the wrong people, and what's the matter with you? Why are you doing this? You know, we want to get down and have a burger and fries, and we want you to come with us, or a pizza, and beer, or whatever it is, right? And you're trying to change your diet. Well, they're influencing you. They're the reason that you go do that. And there's not really anything wrong with that, except your health and our desire to fit into this group is greater than our responsibility for our own health. And then it's true for them too. So I sat at a Thanksgiving table with my friend Howard, his family. There were 13 of us. Now, Howard and I had been doing the master cleanse for 8 days, I believe, at that time. And it was a 10-day thing. Well, you can't just go back. For every 4 days you do a cleanse, it takes 1 day to clear the body before you can go back to solid food. Well, like I said, we're on day 8. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But Howard had 2 massive plates of food. And I sat at that table and I drank the master cleanse. Was it tough to do? Yeah, it was tough to do. But I'm dedicated to my health. And Howard thought he was going to die. He was so sick because his body wasn't ready to handle that. When we do fruits, berries, melons, they're alkaline, and they alkalize our digestive system. So when you put food in there and the acids aren't there to help digest that food, you're in pretty serious trouble. So for every 4 days, you do a day of maybe a smoothie or something like that. You got to slowly work your way back into solid food again. And that's what most people are going to do. They can't wait to eat, so they just start eating. And that's the wrong thing to do. And our circle of influence, like, that's why retreats are so important. They're taking you out of your element. And you're in a group of people that are doing the exact same thing you're doing. And that's why it works. But when you turn around and you go back home, you're walking into the influence that made you sick. They may love you, but you can't handle the diet that they're eating. And they're having issues too. They're just not talking about it. And they're not breathing properly. They're not moving properly. Their head is like just exploding with oh, I shouldn't do this. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Oh my God, if I do this, I might get caught. And all these things are going around in our head, and are driving our cars too fast, and road rage, and all these things. They're literally driving our digestive system crazy. So when we think about just resting, we're even harder on ourselves because the world is hard on us at work. You get a break. Well, I remember when I was in the military, we'd take a break, and I didn't smoke. So this was my reward for not smoking. I had to do push-ups while everybody else was smoking cigarettes. So is that a reward? Because I was doing everything everybody else was doing, and while they were getting a break, I had to do exercises because I didn't smoke. So is that promoting smoking? I think so. So we have all these things around us and we're unaware that it's happening because we grew up in it. And because we grew up in it, we don't know anything else. We don't know anything different. That's what we have to change. And that's an old, really rooted program. It's deep in our subconscious. So when we go to a retreat and we get results. You know, I did the Woodstock Fruit Festival for 2 weeks. Had an amazing time. When I came back, I stepped back into my old influence. And you have to be strong enough to stay committed to what you know is going to help you heal. Because if you went there and you weren't well, and you got well, and you go back to the old influence, they're going to try and pull you back into that old diet. Because it's the diet they're on. And you're going to hear things like, oh, you're crazy. That stuff doesn't work. This is bad. It'll rot your teeth. It'll do this. It'll do that. It'll whatever. You have to be committed to taking care of your own body. Your body is talking to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we've forgotten how to listen to it, how to hear it. And then take action upon that. Instead of running down to the drugstore, stage 2 of lymphatic congestion. So that lymphatic congestion stage 2 is when you start to get a little, oh, what is that? Oh, wow. And you go down to the drugstore and you get something to relieve that. Well, that's not relieving it. That's just getting rid of the symptom. The issue, let's say it was shoulder, the issue is still in the shoulder. Could be the weight of the world on your shoulders. Could be that you feel like you're carrying someone, or there's a million things it could be that's causing that issue. It could be that the lymphatic gate is closed and you need to open it up so blood and lymph can get in there, because if those cells are not getting blood and lymph there, they're drowning in their own sewer, because every cell eliminates. That's why every cell in the body has a lymphatic system, or part of it, that goes by it to clean it up. And as the acids build, okay, it can cause malabsorption. The deeper the malabsorption, the less hydration, nutrition, and oxygen is being able to be pulled into the cell, and it's dying of thirst, it's dying of hunger, and it's dying from lack of oxygen, which creates more acid. And these cells, are us. And the pain is them trying to tell us that there's something wrong and we need to do something about it. And it's not going down to the drug store. I emphasize that a lot. Nature has medicine. It's growing in the ground. It's free. You want drugs? Get down to the corner. It says drugstore right on the side of it, because that's what it is. It's a drug. It's not a medicine. So as we walk in through that door, we're buying something to block a symptom and not fix what's wrong. You do herbs and you eat fruits, berries, melons, you're electrifying the body, and nothing turns the body on electrically more than the breath, because it was a breath that started it. You're breathing. What's your blood? It's plasma. What's the electromagnetic field? Plasma. When those two hit, it creates the Big Bang. That spark gives you life. That's your first breath in, and you can't be here without it. Your last breath is out, turns off the electrical system, energy goes back to source, and the body stays here. Because you are not your body. You're the caretaker of it. And if you're sick, you're not taking very well are taking care of it very well.
Yeah,
And
how would you explain? Yeah, I had something else in mind that I wanted to say, but this all of a sudden popped up in my mind, and that is about cravings. Now, in a way, it's like people are saying they're so hungry, and I only know the feeling of hunger when I'm on a cooked diet, when I eat cooked food.
mm-hmm.
And then I constantly need to eat more because if not, then I feel like, I get irritable, like I can throw at something if I don't eat. And it's not even because of hunger, although people see it as being hungry or having cravings. And cravings to me seems like such a mental thing. And I was thinking, see, there are a lot of problems that people walk into, get into, is we just mentioned, the outside world, and what are you going to do? What are you going to do with it? How do you respond? You may have taken the steps to improve your health with a better diet, and then you have people telling, like it's so it's crazy what you're doing and it's dangerous, and then you start doubting yourself. And I wonder if it, and that is the same with the cravings. How possible would it be at those moments when you try to get back into yourself by the breathing? You can even do that when you have people around and telling you things, and just do the deep breathing to get back into yourself and know that you're on the right path, because this is the most struggle that people have, and that is why you see all these short-term detoxes and then giving up after that and saying it doesn't work. I even saw a post in a group from a lady who said, I was 5 years on, 5 or 6 years, yeah, 5 years, I think, on a raw vegan diet, and it gave me breast cancer. And I was like, I don't know exactly what you were eating, but if you were eating, real alkaline food, that doesn't happen. Anyway, it's because we need to have a plan, and know that this is what we want to do, because for many years in yeah, I go back to my experiences, because those are actually the most important ones that I know, is that I was looking at anything and everything to heal my body. And I got to a point that I was depressed, bedridden, and I was about to give up. And that is where I met Dr. Morse. And at that time, I was on a raw diet with high nuts and and seeds, and high fat and high protein, even though it was vegan. And that is when I met Dr. Morse. And for me, everything became very clear, and like this is the way to go. But so many times we see people that try to combine different healing modalities. I mean, you hear from people who have excellent results with keto or with the carnivore diet, and even medical medium, which I tried for 18 months, and I have a lot to say about that. And but those people that you hear then it's in the beginning they will have results because they left out all the other junk food they were eating, and the body responded to that. But it's not long term. With Dr. Moises protocol, or the fruit eating, it things started to change. And when you mention about people trying to influence you, I found that all the people who were negative to me about me eventually stayed away from me, and that included part of my family.
Mm-hmm.
And because the high frequency food, you just attract different things. So in the
Right.
last years, I've been attracting people who are on my level. Yeah, I don't like to say it that way, but who experience the same thing, who are doing the same thing. And some are learning, but I found people that who are really negative about those changes, and kept telling themselves, "Oh, I couldn't do what you do." And but yeah, I think for yourself you have to make a plan, And but I got off track again because I was asking you about the cravings and hunger.
Right.
And
So
I would think that the deep breathing at that point would make a difference.
yes, it will, because elevating your vibration, your frequency. And so low frequency is what parasites love to live in. And they will create cravings because they're connected to your nervous system. And when they get hungry, they start rattling the nervous system, which sends a signal to the brain, I need to eat. And I want sweets, or I want, whatever it is. Because there's a difference between fruit sugar and man-made sugar. Man-made sugar is not conductive. I have a video online that shows that. I actually do a demonstration to show you that fruits are high energy, and that cooked food is a low vibrational energy. And if you're eating processed foods, that is a low energy also, but there are additives in there to make you eat more. Now, I don't know that McDonald's was the one that came up with this idea, but there are things in there that make you hungry faster. Because the only way that they got so big, the only way they could increase the bottom line was to start making the food addictive so that you'd come back for more of it. And you had to have the McDonald's fries. They even call when they used to give you the fries, the salt and stuff would be on the bottom, some of the grease and some of that stuff, fat. And it was called the salt slide by McDonald's. And that's what they looked for, is when you were done eating all the fries, you tip the container up and the salt slides down. Well, we have a sensor in the back of our tongue, and I can't remember the exact name of it right now. It's something like the TR2. No. Anyway, there's one taste bud in the back of our tongue. There are thousands of scientists all over the world trying to figure out how to tap into that, because it releases dopamine. And that is the correct amount of salt, fat, and sugar. And when that hits the back of the tongue, that dopamine comes out, and it's like cocaine. And I don't know what cocaine is like, but evidently it lights the same sensors in the brain, the perfect amount of salt, fat, and sugar. So when you think about that, and all these chemicals that they're doing, and all the things that they're doing now to cause obesity, the same system that's causing obesity is the same system that's creating the diet pills that have poisons in them. They're not listed as poisons, and they're odorless and they're tasteless. So you don't even know they're in there. But it is kind of paralyzing the digestive system. So that's what's throwing the signals off to the brain back and forth. The brain doesn't know what to send it, so it sends something. And if your digestive system is partially paralyzed, that means your food's going to sit there longer. And the longer it sits there, the more it ferments. And the more it ferments, then you start to bloat, you start to gain weight. And it's a very sick way to help people lose weight. Everybody's looking for the pill. Well, the pill's not the answer. The fruits, the berries, the melons, and the herbs are the answer. And the herbs are more about, it's not that fruit, berries, and melons don't heal you, they do. But when you add herbs in with that, it's incredible how your body will respond. Your parasites will start shaking things like crazy because they don't want a higher vibration in the body. They want a low vibration. So that's where our cravings come from. But as we learn to raise our vibration, or let's say that we're going to, we have a craving right now, and you think ice cream, because it'll put pictures in your head. That's how good they are. And it might be ice cream. So instead of ice cream, you have man-made, you have personally made yogurt, not man-made yogurt. If you look on the back of a yogurt package, they took all the natural bacteria out and put in synthetic bacteria because they don't want you having natural. They don't want you having natural anything. It should all be synthetic in their world. And the longer they can keep you sick, the more medicine they can sell you. So they're in the waiting game. They know the lymphatic system. If they don't, they shouldn't be doctors. They won't talk about it, but they know about it. There's a lot of things they won't talk about that they can't by law, by their own little box that they're in. And if they step outside that, they'll lose their license, and then they can't be a doctor anymore. So there's a lot going on there that is imprisoning them and their ability to help people heal. We see that with the vaccines. More and more stuff is coming out about the vaccines and the damage that it's causing. But all these doctors are being held to the carpet, especially when it first started. I mean, it was insane what they put these doctors through, because the doctors knew the difference.
Someday they will be held accountable for how many people have been killed by treatments. Let's say it that way. We had a question from Lisa, who was asking, has anyone experienced teeth shifting during detox, especially the front teeth? Well, the funny thing is, Lisa, I noticed that last week with my own teeth, and I have absolutely no clue what happens. Do you, Gary?
Shifting in a good way or a bad way, like they're loose?
Well, for me, it's they're not loose, but they were always even, and now I saw it was uneven. One got more to the front than the other. At least I didn't put anything else in. Are you having loose teeth, Lisa, or did you just have a visual change in how your teeth look? We'll get an answer soon.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
not loose, though out of alignment. Yes, uneven. Yes, that is what I
okay.
noticed too, and I have no idea.
Front teeth.
Yeah,
So one side is shifted and so the body's split down the middle this way, right? This half doesn't know this half exists, and this half doesn't know this half
I
exists.
got it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So if it's the two front teeth, then part of your body is healing at a faster rate than the other one. And it's coming back to its true alignment, the one that's being moved forward. And the other one should catch up with it. Breath will do that too, because you're increasing the electrical flow in the body. So think of it this way: when you get Novocaine, it's up here at the top, right? It only does this quadrant, this tooth, and here over. This side of your mouth is okay. This side, your tongue feels like it's swollen, probably is swollen. I don't know. And this quadrant is numb. And if they're going to do work down here, they have to give you Novocaine down here. And again, it only goes to that center tooth because this half is the one that's being numbed. It can't do this side. They have to go over and give you Novocaine here on this side and Novocaine here to get these two quadrants. That's how we know that our body is in two different things. There's an electrical system that runs the left side, and there's an electrical system that runs the right side. And your dominant side is the one that your kidney and your adrenal are the strongest.
Yeah, Lisa said the tooth out of alignment is a crown over a post due to it breaking off years ago.
Yeah, I would say that bone density is shifted, that you're getting a lot of vitamin C, and that's really good for your gums and your teeth. Uh, but I would say and I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it would be, is
That makes sense.
that one side of your body is healing more than the other side. And that's a kidney adrenal issue. Because
Yeah,
one
well,
side,
okay.
so people that are ambidextrous, their kidney and adrenals are equal on both sides.
He also says the gums over the front teeth are very sensitive and bleed a bit with very mild brushing.
Yeah, not too happy about that. Uh, on the side that's been pushed forward,
Yeah, I don't see her answer about that yet.
okay, so to me, that sounds like there's some inflammation going on there. And
Yeah,
because the
test the
inflammation,
pH too. Yes, he said both teeth. I would test the pH of your saliva
yeah,
and see if it's slightly alkaline.
Hello everybody. I'm sorry I was late before. But I was gonna say I would maybe start adding lemon to your water and start, doing that more. And I wouldn't use a toothbrush, maybe use a washcloth and just kind of, gently take care of your teeth until they can kind of heal through the process. But, keep the way. I mean, sometimes some of the bad has to come out, and it comes out in all different ways in our body
yeah,
when it needs to come out. So just stay the path and just be very gentle with them and add fresh lemon to your water and distilled water or as fresh water as you could possibly get.
yeah, because my gums were all swollen and bleeding my whole life.
Okay, you got stuck there, Gary. But yeah, a lot of us have that. I had that my whole life. And okay, I think Gary is you use baking soda to clean them.
I mean, yes and no, but that can be also pretty abrasive as well too. So maybe just every so often or something like that. But lemon is, fantastic for our teeth. Aside from what we have been told, again, like I've said in the past, I don't know if I would, like put a lemon on my teeth and like suck on it all day long. But definitely putting it in your water is beneficial.
Okay, we
Um,
Gary back,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I am.
there
Yeah.
we
My
go.
phone, my phone overheated. So maybe I'll just stand here in the shade for a while. But yes, the master cleanse, when I did that, I don't know if you heard that part. I did a 10-day cleanse, no solid food. My gums completely healed. My teeth got tighter. I went to my dentist and he went, "Good Lord, what have you been doing? I've never seen your gums and your teeth look this good." So I started, and he's a friend of mine. We used to ride Harleys together and everything. Great, great dentist. And I said, I've been doing the master cleanse. He goes, "What's that?" I started to explain it to him and how it worked. And you could watch him go to sleep. It's like almost like they're trained that anything outside of what they do, they can't, they literally cannot hear it. They can't take it in. Their whole brain just turns off. And I saw it in him and in his eyes when that happened. But I'll tell you, if you do the master cleanse, many things, which is a fruit, by the way. So you're right, lemon in your water. Uh, if you can't handle the lemon, put in a little dark maple syrup, real maple syrup, uh, just to take away the lemony, You still have the lemon taste, but it's not as tart. And you'll be amazed at how fast your gums will heal. I mean, it's insane. I mean, in that 10 days, I lost 20 pounds. I wore double vision glasses from the time I was 6 years old. And within 7 days, that was in around 99, 2000. Within 7 days, I've never worn glasses since. Because the fluid in your eyes is lymphatic fluid, or there's lymph in there. And all that pressure is caused from acid. So people with glaucoma, they really need to do the master cleanse, because in upper circuit brain and nerve formula from Dr. Morse, skull cap, which is an herb, will help with that also. But I would get the thing from Dr. Morse. You can get that right through Toni. But there's so many things we can do when we think we're stuck with what we have, and we're not stuck. In our thinking, we are, but nature has everything we need. Everything. It's all growing right out of the ground. If you walk in your bare feet in your yard, provided that your yard is not sprayed with chemicals to keep out those pesky weeds like dandelions and plantain. Dandelion's one of the greatest herbs on earth. Plantain is for the heart and circulation. You can take a plantain and chew it up. If you have a cut on yourself and you chew it into a pulp and put it on there, it'll completely pull anything in there that doesn't belong there, any thing from the outside, bacteria that cause harm. It'll pull it out and it will seal that wound. And in like 10 minutes, depending on how big the cut is, like in 10 minutes, you won't even see where the cut was. No creams, no potions, none of that stuff. It's free. It's in your yard. If you walk around in your bare feet, the herbs you need to heal your body will grow in your yard, because nature is always seeking balance. And when we have things like parasites, we're out of balance because we're a low frequency.
Yeah, Lisa asked, are there any herbs to assist with the gum inflammation? But when you have inflammation, it means you are acidic. That's why I was
Right.
asking, what is the pH of your mouth? And is there anything in your diet that can cause the acidity? And of course, to get to the cause, we would have to go deeper into it. But I think, Lisa, you know a lot about that already. So it's, oh, how do I wish that there was a magic pill, for healing. But
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sorry. And there is nature provides everything. And what you just said about the herbs that you need will grow in your environment. And you mentioned walking bare feet, and I was like, I never did that. But yes, I did, because I was always walking bare feet. And I had specifically nettle, a lot of nettle growing in my yard. Now, these are the typical weeds in the Netherlands, is nettle and dandelion.
Mm-hmm.
You know that we call dandelion, which I find a beautiful word. But in Netherlands, that flower called that herb is being called paardenbloem, which is translated into horse flower.
Hmm.
So maybe the horses like it. But nobody likes dandelion in the Netherlands, or nettle, actually. And nettle is absolutely great, especially when you're low iron. And it's even in, I think it is some of the formulas. And at the Morse, you can also buy nettle as a tincture. And it's a very good one, especially people who had anemia. Anemia, yeah, because that is what I used it for. But the bleeding gums, like what you said, you had it your whole life. For some people, would have to do more than 1 or 2 weeks on the master cleanse with the lemons. For me, that wasn't enough. I needed more. But let me see. Is dandelion tea okay? Yes, of course it's okay.
Yeah,
I buy that in bulk.
absolutely.
I love
Uh,
it. And it is the roots, it is the flower, it's everything. So yeah.
yeah, echinacea is another one.
Yeah. Well, with echinacea, we because I have been using that since in my early 20s, and it's echinacea and calendula.
Hmm.
That is a very good one. With calendula, we found that when my husband had a motorcycle accident and he had all that road rash that the doctor couldn't even get out, and she was almost crying, as in like, I can't do anything for you. And I was like, oh, no problem, I know what to do. And here we had this, I had this calendula tonic, and I put it on, and it pulled out all that road rash, all that little grit, the little stones. It pulled them
Hmm.
all out, and it barely left a scar. And it was really, really bad. But so yeah, that would. You say Lisa is saying she wasn't sure if tea would be acidic in the mouth. I don't think so.
Well, it depends on the tea.
Well, yeah,
Stuff,
but we're not talking about black teas or
right.
green teas. We're
That's
talking
right.
about the herbal teas.
Yes, the herbal teas.
Yeah, and you could even rinse with heal all tea. I know I have a Dr. Morse. I heard Dr. Morse talk about that. Now there was a comment here that I absolutely have to respond to because okay, why is my mouse not working now? Good thing I have a touch screen.
Hmm.
I have a very, very old laptop and it's a touchscreen. Isn't that amazing?
Mm.
The big Dell. And it gave up, what is it, 3 years ago, and I had put in new solid state hard drive, and it works like it's new again. It's amazing.
I love
Anyway,
that.
huh?
I love that.
Yeah, yeah, because I hate buying new stuff and have to install everything, and no. So I like to make it last. But even the person who put in the solid state hard drive, he was amazed that it was still working because he had worked on it many years ago.
Mm.
And it's probably it's more than 10 years old now.
Wow.
Anyway, Vincent mentioned something, and it was like fruit sugar can sometimes backfire depending what you're dealing with. Well, if you would eat fruit while you were on a heavy fat diet, and then all of a sudden you start eating fruit, yeah, absolutely, it will backfire. But it just means that you have to get rid of all that fat in your food. And yeah, sometimes you can have watermelon. Not everybody can handle the watermelon. And yes, it does depend on what state your body is in. So it is always with eating fruit, it's not the fruit sugars, necessarily that they would backfire. It's just every fruit is different in your body.
Mm.
It seems to have a different function. We know that the what is it? Apples, for instance, can be very helpful for your liver, gallbladder, and even your digestive system. For me, watermelon is great. Other people cannot do watermelon because they get bloated because we're all at a different state of yeah, health. Could you say that?
Yeah,
So
it's listening to your body.
Yeah, and that is what we cannot do or cannot do and don't know how to do or don't trust it anymore because we have been so indoctrinated by the medical industry. I mean, I had a mom who went to her physiotherapy every week and was for her whole life and was on all kinds of medication her whole life. And I know people here in my area who just live, going from doctor to doctor to doctor.
Mhm.
And every pain it means doctor. For me, every pain means a signal, and it's like you're like what you already explained very clearly with how the cells work and how they let you know what's going on. But somebody also mentioned, let me see, what was that? I don't see it right now. Yeah, Richard mentioned it's normalized sickness. And that is the whole thing. We think that the signals that we get, oh yeah, that is normal. No, it's not normal. Every signal that you get means that at that area, something is not working correctly in your body. And I experienced experienced that with my fall of 2 weeks ago. And I'm happy to announce that I'm doing pretty good. My
Good.
back pain is almost gone. So, and I knew that bruised kidneys can heal in about 2.5 weeks. And, sometimes it can take longer, but yeah, the 2 weeks is about right, 2.5 weeks. And even the bruise and assumed it could be spine, but it could be muscles, it could be tendons. So yeah, your body heals, and I'm not worried about the pain because I know when I do the right things, my body will take care of it. And this is where the trust in your body comes in. And but if you're not doing the right things, and if you do your fruit until 4, and at 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock you eat a pizza, and you have problems, you cannot blame it on the fruit. You can only blame it on what you ate after 4 o'clock. And the same goes for all the diets. So when I mentioned, I wanted to talk about how to correctly detox, regenerate, and heal the body. It's like you need to have a plan. You need to know, okay, I am going to do this and be happy about it. It's a big decision. And healing is a big decision because, as simple as we may sound it at sometimes, it's not the easiest thing to do because we already mentioned all the things that you need to overcome in your environment to be able to do that. But the next step would be once you have your plan, it was cleaning out your fridge and your cupboards from what is it, distractions. You could call it distractions, and be clear with your family about what path you want to take. And if they have questions, then there are groups, Dr. Morse groups, where they can ask them. You can work with a practitioner like Gary and I are, and talk about it and find out more how you can do it. The next step would be the correct breathing. And Gary has amazing videos about that. Gary, I already start putting your videos on I have a personal channel that is not YouTube, so YouTube cannot ever get rid of it. They are actually on Dentube, but I will send you the link
Yeah.
because there are people who are not on Facebook, and I would like to be able to share your videos with whoever wants them. So learning these things and trusting your body, listening to your body, knowing what to do, when to do it. Not to worry when you have to get up at night because you need to pee 2 times. It's all normal in the sense of your kidneys start working better, and it may take a while. And of course, I got off track again because I started with the breathing. Okay, breathing and moving. Because Gary, you have this one move, and you showed that to us last year when you did that video that we called breath work. And I think, did you call that by any chance Zen move?
Yes.
Okay, okay. That and you have that in your latest videos also?
Yeah, that's called the Zen swing.
Zen swing. Yeah, it is like a swing.
Yeah.
And it is so easy to practice, and you can absolutely have fun with that, and it's like the frequency music. There's a lot of information out there about that. Doing things that you love to do and not feel like it is a drag and you have to do it because otherwise it won't work that way. You need to be happy about your decision and with the correct foods. We have a list that's actually in the description, and it's called mucusless foods, mucuslessfoods.com. And when you go there, and you see it, and you see the link in the description too, that gives you a guideline of what to do. If you get frustrated, and believe me, it can happen, it will happen, then go back to the deep breathing techniques and learn the six lymphatic gates. I am learning that now. I mean, without Gary, I would not have known about it. Oh, those are important, and they work. And if all else fails and you still feel that I've done everything that I try to do and it's not working for me, then set up a session with Gary and I about emotional freedom techniques. See what's holding you back from healing. What emotional trauma are you still, even unconsciously and definitely unconsciously, hanging on to? I mean, I have that experience. And Gary has already helped a lot of people with connecting with that and overcoming that trauma. And so that is another thing when you are stuck, we have the tools. There are tools, but and never ever feel don't let yourself held back by connecting with us. I mean, we are here to help. We want to, yeah. I always say I'm a tour guide. I'm a tour guide on someone's health journey, and nothing more. I'm not the one who said you have to do this, but I more likely well, I definitely will say, if you do this, then this can be the result. And if you feel that you cannot do what everybody else, or even in for the Dr. Morse protocol, you say, I can't do it, then this is what Gary always says: your body is listening to you. If you
Right.
say that you cannot do it, then you are right. Dr. Morse even says that. Then you cannot do it. That's something that has been well known for a long time. I think I knew that when I was in my 20s already. Yeah, I think that is the way to correctly detox, and don't add any. I see people who have been in the groups, in the Dr. Morse group for years, and have detoxed, and then things are not working, and then I learn, yeah, but I can use some oil on my salad. And be aware, I'm not the one who will tell you no, you cannot, but be aware that when you do, your body is not going to like it. So we get back to learning how does your body respond. If necessary, write down what you eat so you can connect with what is happening. If something is happening in your life, something traumatic, can even a little thing. And what we call a little thing is, and I've experienced that a few times, because I rode a motorcycle and being run off the road, and that is traumatic because somebody is attacking your life. So when I talk about, even little traumatic things, I would always consider that a little thing, but almost losing your life is not that little. So if you are in traffic a lot, you can have traumatic experiences, and your body will respond to that. So this is again where it comes in, the deep breathing. Okay, Sarah, would you like to ask something?
ask anything?
Add something.
Oh, I was like, ask, no.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, the only thing I was listening to, like when you guys were first talking about being around other people that are like Gary was talking about being on the master cleanse, but yet his friend was, eating, like had a whole bunch of food there. It's almost like we have a close family friend that can no longer have alcohol at all. And a lot of our family members do partake in that on like a weekend basis. And so it is very hard for somebody who is used to also doing that to go to some of the events and some of the parties and things like that. And in the beginning, he did just distance himself from it. But I mean, it's at a point now where, like, it's kind of life and death. So he can't really even, try anything or do anything anymore. So, and it's also like with somebody that is quit smoking. What I'm trying to say is you still go out to places where people are going to be smoking, people are going to be drinking. And even though you can't partake in that, it's just something that you just get used to. And it's the same as when you are going on a vegetarian, a vegan, or even the raw fruits diet, then you're changing your lifestyle, but yet you're still out in public with people. So, I mean, there's many different levels of things that we go through. Now, when somebody gives up smoking or drinking, that's more, I guess, acceptable right now. But when you go in and say, I'm sorry, I only eat fruit, people really look at you like, are you crazy? Like, what's wrong with you? You're gonna, your protein, all the same stuff we always hear too. But, I was watching that when we went to one of our family gatherings this past weekend, and he was doing very well. And in the very beginning, it was very, very hard, but it's no different when we show up. It's just something that you just have to know that you're doing and have trust and faith, like we have to have in everything that we do, and know that you won't come out on the other side. And that life, you're going to find I don't want to say a new normal, but it's just going to be a different way in your family and friends. If they, are your true, friends and whatnot, they're just going to accept you for who you are, whether you quit smoking, quit drinking, or quit eating the regular standard American diet. So just stay very positive with it, stay grounded, spend your time with God and just know that you're on the right path and just keep doing it. The other thing I do too is I usually eat before I go places, and then I'm there for the people. I'm not there for the food or the drink. I'm there for the relationship that I have formed with these people. And at this point, I have no problems at all. Any places I really go. If I go somewhere new, yeah, I get questioned, but I love answering questions. And to me, that's the gate that they're opening the gate for me to explain to them and share with them. And so to me, I think it's great. And like I've said before on other things, people will be like, oh my gosh, I have to make something or bring something for you, or I want to make sure I have something here for you. And so it is changing them. And it's just a new way of shining light on a whole nother situation for people. So, yep.
Yeah,
So,
wherever I go, I always go with my bottle of lemon water.
yeah. Yeah. And I'll bring fruit as well
Yeah.
too. Or even like, I mean, a vegetable tray is easy. Things like that. And you can bring like, um, instead of bringing like, like ranch dips or something, bring like a mustard or, something. It doesn't have to be, just get creative. And especially when you're dipping your toe. Another thing, and I'll quit ranting too, is it also depends on where you are in your journey. I also heard to like clean out your cabinet and everything. When we first started all of this, we just ate through what we had in our cabinet. And then when we went to the store the next time, we didn't pick up those items anymore. And then from there, let's shop at a farmer's market or let's go to one of the local farmers. It's literally just building on everything. Now, if you're truly fighting something and you're really kind of into the acidic environment in your body, yeah, I would toss it all out and really hit it hard. But there's no time like the present to start. That way, you're not trying to battle the battle or fight the battle. And put the good in first, and your body will tell you it wants the good over the bad anyway.
It's a lifestyle change, and it can be very beautiful. And don't be afraid to be different than everybody else.
I
So,
love being different. So it's,
me
yeah,
too.
I just love it.
Lisa just mentioned something that I'm just now reading. She said, I'm just coming through 6 months of an extremely stressful life experience. I feel this may be a factor in the teeth and gum situation. I have been utilizing breath work, movement, and presence, very good, but sleep also has been irregular, feeling like adrenals are fatigued. Well, when you go to 6 months of an extremely stressful life, then absolutely your adrenals are fatigued. Give it time. Give it time. Your body can reset. It will do what it needs to do to get you in balance again, and you know how to do it.
Take on slow living. I am an extremely busy person, but you have to find balance, because if you don't find balance, there is no way that you're going to be able to heal. If it's, everybody always tells me, wake up early in the morning. I'm like, I go to bed late at night. Or, do that. So I get the same amount of, I get probably a little bit less sleep than most people do, but I'm pretty energized throughout every single day. You still have to find time, though, to find the beauty in the world and in your daily life and in your family and in your spouse or partner, whoever. And you have to find that time to ground. So in the morning, if it is you're going through your emails or something for work, can you do it on your phone while you're standing outside in the sun, maybe barefooted on the grass? You know, you just got to really try to find time to try to do slow living in this crazy busy world. But this lifestyle too, you are kind of breaking out of the matrix. Um, and you'll start seeing changes the further you go along with it. But definitely fight to try to, live a slow, chaotic life, I guess you could say. That's what I try to find the balance in.
Yes,
And,
Sarah,
taking that 20 minutes or so.
yeah, Sarah, you're using the wrong word. Try to fight.
Try to fight. Yes.
Yeah,
Find your slowness in the chaotic world.
Breath
It
will
is
do that.
important, our rest. Yes.
Yeah, your breath will do that.
Yes.
Uh, on feeling out of sorts is usually lack of oxygen. Oxygen will help ground you. So
Yes.
I
Oh, I'm sorry.
always think, oh, no, I always think of myself of being in the eye of the storm, and I can walk through the storm, but the eye moves with me. So I'm always calm. I'm always collected. Uh, I'm always seeking. I'm very curious. This is something that we've lost, is our curiosity. We're depending on the outside system to do everything for us. And that system is designed in a way that it can't really do everything for us, except give us synthetic meds. And, like a few years ago, and I'm sure they already have this, they were building it then, a plastic pancreas. And they take your pancreas out and they put this plastic one in place, and it sends out synthetic enzymes to digest your food. And they all look at that like it's a miracle. Well, to me, it's a travesty. It's we're talking about detoxing, which is cleaning out. And they're talking about cutting out. And then once they put that in there, your body will attack it. So they give you a drug to shut down your immune system, which is kind of what the vaccines are about. They're slowly shutting the vaccine system down, and they're turning us into plants that they spray with herbicides, pesticides, fungicides. And the soil has no life left in it. So the plants are like drug addicts. Well, they're starting to do the same thing to the human body. And you will have to have these things just to survive. They will be giving you what you need to keep your body alive, but you'll be paying for it. So, and this is another thing, an alkaline body, you cannot feel it. It's only through acid building in the body that you feel the pain. And that's just a cell. It's no different than a baby. When something's wrong, it starts to cry. Well, that's your cells crying. And they're asking for help, but we're running to the people that are creating the problem. What is it? Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, action, solution. That's the world we live in. They create a problem. They give us a solution, right? They look for our reaction and then they give us a solution. The toilet paper thing was about the vaccines. It was just the precursor to it. We're going to run out of toilet paper. Everybody panicked. And there were actually fist fights in the stores between women over a roll of toilet paper. That's when they knew they had us. So then when they used the same technology, the same psychological psychobabble to get people to run for the vaccine. And now we're finding out that those vaccines are not really vaccines. And people are getting sick. And the more time that passes, more and more people will get sick. Because it's designed to do that, to make a lifetime customer. So this has never been a more important time to really pay attention to your body. Stop listening to the influence around you. And, you know, there's a billboard. Matter of fact, I posted a picture of it. On the way here, I don't know, I might have been in Indiana. No, this is a baby's face all scrunched up, right? No vaccine, no hugs for you. Now, if that's not brainwashing, I don't know what is. You cannot take an injection to save somebody else's life. It's just not possible. And then you have to detox that out. And that's what we're finding out now is the best ways to detox out the damage that has been created through these vaccines. So I won't get into that too far because I don't want the video to be taken down. But these are the things that we're facing. People are so out of balance that they can't even communicate anymore. They're just hollering at each other or they're fighting with each other. I mean, physically fighting. It's a weird world. Maybe it's always been weird. I don't know, because I only know my lifetime here. But yeah, we're so domesticated, we've forgotten how to take care of ourselves. And no matter what they do, the majority of the people will follow it. And they'll try to influence everybody else. And this is the same thing with detox. What? You're doing something different? What? I mean, I heard a manager at one of the auto parts store that I went to tell a person he was going to die because he didn't get the vaccine. Like, I didn't get involved in that conversation because there are just conversations that you can't get into. I mean, they're nonsensical. They're useless. They're idiotic. And the more idiotic they are, and the bigger the lie, the more people seem to believe it. It's just about stepping back, taking a breath, doing light, slow movements and breaths, and your breath should match your movement. So, I don't know, I
And
guess that's
realize that you are in control over your own body, nobody else.
right.
So that's just it. And learn the signs, or be aware, be consciously aware of what's going on in your body. Don't worry about every ache and pain, although it is a signal. I learned to certain symptoms that were kind of odd when I was on all fruit, or when I am on all fruit, and I have these weird twitches or pains, and it's like, oh, the body is working hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned to embrace it and to not worry it, because I cannot do anything else than everything that implement everything that I learned from, people I talk to like you. We learn more and more about how to be in control over our own body, and I don't worry about, what's going on. Anyway, we are already past an hour and a half, so we're gonna end this
All right.
conversation. Yeah, it's rare if you can keep it within an hour. There's always a lot to talk to, and I think we answered the questions that we had. And Lisa thanks us, and she will be resting as much as the body calls for, and loving living at a slow presence. Very good. Thank you all for being here. It was a pleasure, and a lot of love to Sarah and to Gary for always being here with a lot of great insights and gnosis. And I look forward to the next one, whatever topic that may be.
Yeah, thank you both so much. I learned so
Yes.
much from the both of you all the time, and I'm very grateful to be part of all of this. So thank you.
Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Gary. Till the next time. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.